Hey everyone, Isabel here. Again, for those who don't know me, my name is Isabel Hunt. I'm a certified transformation coach, public speaker, the author of the book The Power of Faith-Driven Success, as well as an emotions clearing practitioner. And if you want to know more about my work, you can go to my website, isabelhunt.com, isabelhunt.com. Okay, so today I was involved in a conversation in a different group about should you trust your head or should you trust your heart. And it was quite interesting how some people were really like, I have to trust my head because my heart is always leading me the wrong way. And while in the Bible it talks about that your heart is deceitful and wicked, and so you never should trust your heart. And then there was the other side of it that always said we trust our heart, and here's the reason why. So I wanted to actually create a video because I'm sure that is not just a topic that comes up in that group, but that also comes up in general with a lot of people, and I thought it's really interesting, so I want to give my take on it. And as you know, I teach and coach about emotions, and I think that considering that when we talk about intuition, we talk about your heart. So all of that is actually one. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where to start or what's the best point to start at, because there's so much to it all, and that could be a single. Well, actually, I actually did a masterclass on this 2 years ago, and so that was a 2.5-hour masterclass. So I don't want to drag it out for that long. But when we talk about heart, we talk about an organ that is to 65% similar, created physically similar to your brain. It also has those neurotransmitters, and is the most powerful organ in your body. It sends out the strongest pulses that keep every single cell in your body alive. We know it. Once your heart is done and not working properly, nothing in your body actually works. So that being said means that we also need to mention that, again, everything is energy, everything has vibration. So we also have a bioelectromagnetic field that is around us. It starts with your heart, it goes up, goes all the way down, and comes back to your heart. So the center of your heart is the powerhouse of your body, physical. And everything that we receive, every vibration, our heart recognizes it first. It's usually, they say, scientists say that it's about 5 seconds before your brain is even realizing what's going on. So what is happening is your heart is taking in the vibration of what it's receiving, the information. If it's about making a decision, if it's about someone else, trusting someone, or trusting what is in front of you. Either way, it's about the trust part, and it transfers that vibration to the back of your brain. It is also considered the subconscious mind. Within your subconscious mind is where all the memories of your whole life are being stored. Your brain literally stores about 1 million thoughts a day, and everything is still there. We just don't have always access to it. But with the information your heart is receiving then transfers to your subconscious mind real quickly evaluates the frequency, whatever you just took in, and compares it to other frequencies of events and thoughts that are stored in your brain, and that is considered the trigger. So if there's anything that is slightly close to what you currently experience compared to what you already have stored in your brain, then it creates a specific emotion that has been stored with that event in your subconscious mind. And that's then when your conscious mind is realizing what is actually going on. It actually consciously sees what's going on, or there needs to be a decision, and your subconscious mind is already giving you the information to a memory. And within that memory and the actual event, it creates an emotion. And that doesn't necessarily mean that this emotion is exactly connected to the actual event that you experience in that moment. But again, it is a trigger. So depending on what the emotion is, it could be something happy, but it also could be fear. You are responding, you have a default behavior. So your conscious mind is actually responding as a default behavior, something that is predispositioned, that you've learned, stories that you've seen, that has been modeled to you, things that are being expected of you through society, through your parents. All those things are being stored in your brain, and again, those are then connected to your current experience. And so your brain is always evaluating and comparing, and then you have the default behavior. Your heart, on the other side, is what which is the connection to your soul, where you can really deeply connect. It's like that spiritual connection. Okay, so now there were a couple people who said, yeah, but in the Bible it talks about this and that and that. Okay, so here's what my take is on that. And the Bible talks about to guard your heart. It says in Proverbs 4 verse 23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything for everything you do flows from it. And I already mentioned that your heart is to 65% similar to your brain and how that works. So I did that. But yes, and then there's like, but Isabel, the Bible also talks about that your heart is wicked. And it says in Jeremiah that the human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? But we need to continue to read. It also says, he who puts confidence in men shall be like the heath in a desert, a naked tree, a sorry shrub, the product of barren ground, useless and worthless. Those who trust to their own righteousness and strength and think they can do without Christ, make flesh their arm, and their souls cannot prosper in graces or comforts. And those who make God their hope shall flourish like a tree always green, and so on. Obviously, I did just not memorize that. I actually have it pulled up. So it also, the last one is, they shall be fixed in peace and satisfaction of mind, they shall not be anxious in a year of drought. So my personal understanding of it is, I believe that it means that as long as we are conformed to the ways of men, we will have a wicked heart, and therefore once we truly understand how much we are connected spiritually, we will also understand why we're supposed to protect our heart. So the power of our heart is the power of the heart is because it is the connection to your soul. And again, the heart is a driving force for our emotions, because again, it triggers and all the stuff that I just explained. Protecting your heart from all the influence on the outside, meaning the predispositions, the knowing, the expectations, the systems that we have created to fit in, all those, the labels, all those is conforming to men, to the ways of men, and that can deceive how we experience life. But if we're really truly connected to our heart from within and really feel the connection to our soul through our heart, meaning the subconscious mind is included in this whole thing too, we can follow our intuition, like really following the voice, the divine guidance. And that's where emotions come in. Protecting our heart also helps us to feel all the emotions in the way that we're supposed to, because even in Ecclesiastes it says that that there's a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to break down, a time to build up. So that also means that we're supposed to, that there is a time for every emotion. We just have created a system that is no longer in service of what we feel. We have created a system that actually works against us when it comes to emotion. So someone else was asking about, well, what does it mean then to trust your intuition? Your intuition is connected to your heart, therefore also your emotions. So every emotion has a very specific message for you that you need to reflect on, that then literally cleans up your subconscious mind with all the memories and helping you to let go of some of those predispositions, knowing stories, beliefs, default behavior, and rewire your brain so that you're more in alignment with who you are and are supposed to become within the spiritual context. We're not talking religion. If you want to put a religion to it, that's fine. But if you actually take a look at all of the religions, that is a very common theme in how we can explain, do I trust my head or do I trust my heart? Now, that doesn't mean that we also, well, sometimes people say, but if I would trust my heart right now, I would do this and this, but I know that is probably a stupid idea. Well, then that probably means you are not really trusting your heart, because the message of your heart is usually very clear and in service of your good as well as a greater good. If whatever you feel like your heart is telling you that is really not for in service of you or a greater good, then that is not your heart speaking. It's actually your brain speaking, logically trying to explain. Unless you really listen to your heart and you're just trying to talk yourself out of it, that's a different situation. So there's a lot of awareness that we need to create to really distinguish between our heart and how our brain works and how the both of them work together. I even had people that had trapped emotions in their neck, and me included. And when there are trapped emotions, that also means that the energy flow between your heart and your brain is not as effective. And so sometimes that also means that the spiritual connection is interrupted. I had it like once people were able to restore that energy flow within their heart and within their neck, connecting their heart and their brain, they suddenly had all those crazy creative ideas and really felt spiritually connected. So there goes so much with it. That's really, really interesting to me. And again, that's been years of studying and creating. And I think that's the reason why I felt this need to create the course that is launching in March, called The Empowered Warrior, a simple guide to successfully navigate through your emotional world. And when we understand that, I think we can more clearly hear the voice of God, and follow and take the steps even when they're uncomfortable, but we can take those steps with confidence and understanding that whatever decision we have ahead of us needs to serve my good and is in alignment with who I am, as well as a greater good. And might be little steps that don't feel so great, but if you take it in the context of the big picture, it always ends up to serve a greater good. So the question is, do we trust our head and our heart? I would say mainly our heart, but let's not ignore the brain either, because again, sometimes the heart can be deceitful if we haven't done the work to understand our triggers and our default behavior, and then logic jumps. I'm like, okay, maybe that's a stupid idea. We shouldn't do that. But that is a really fine line, and it's a constant practice for me, for any spiritual healer or any spiritual teacher in that sense. But it's a really interesting topic for me. So I wanted to share that with you and hope you got some great value and something to think about. So it's all about awareness when and if we want to trust our heart and our intuition. Intuition is the combination of the true and meaningful message of our emotions and the divine message that is being received through our soul, again then connected to our heart. And that's again it's leading back to everything is energy, vibration, and how that's connected. I mean, I'd have to repeat myself, right? Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know, or any feedback, or if you have any other thoughts, I'm open for discussion. But that is what how I personally understand some of the things that are being said in the Bible. I talk even more about that in my book, The Power of Faith-Driven Success, because I think trusting our heart means faith, connecting to faith, having faith of the knowing and understanding, like a deep core understanding and knowing. And again, that is a spiritual connection, not a religious, a spiritual connection. All right, that was my Friday video. I think that went longer than what I was anticipating, but it's a really interesting topic, and you can decide for yourself if you rather want to trust your head or your heart. I know that from a lot of, I've worked with over 400 people so far in my business over the last 5 years, and even within my group, I know that usually the women are that's a little easier to trust your heart, and the men always try to make it everything logical and analytical, and they go straight to their head. But sometimes it's actually good to listen to your heart, again, if you're aware of your default behavior and your stories and beliefs. All right. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon again. Bye.